Recently, a dev from Ashes of Singularity put out a TikTok saying that she was the only femme at her gaming studio and wanted to make sure that other femmes played the game and how important they were to the industry. I got to play Ashes of Singularity 2 with one of the devs named Beebs. She is a game dev and therapist, and I also got to ask her a few questions afterwards about making a game and her processes. Beebs just finished writing the game and is now sending it out to voice actors to bring her work to life. The first question I asked her was, do you have a writing process? And if so, what does that look like? Beeb said, so writing a game is a really weird and unique endeavor. In this case, I was working on a game that had existing intellectual property, so I had to review all of what was already out there before I could create anything within that world. The book and the first game. Once I understood the parameters that I could play within, then I asked myself what would be some subversive or interesting ways to tackle these topics that weren't done in the original source materials. Then I started to think through the different characters that could be vehicles for those different opinions and different perspectives. I knew how many missions I had, and I knew how I could deliver the narrative. I had a basic understanding of how it would end and a basic understanding of some of the key players, but then I filled in the rest based on the gameplay needed for the missions, as well as asking myself what would be the logical thing for each of these people with their different backgrounds would go into a situation. I didn't end up writing the final mission until the very far into the writing process, and I came to decide what would happen with it only after I had really got to know the characters, and then I had a eureka moment. From there, I also got to ask, you talked about a social work background, what brought you to the gaming industry? Beeb said that in her undergrad, but also in general, she had been interested in people in storytelling. Undergrad stuff, she had applied for graphic design with an emphasis on video game design. She was able to study writing, and she also studied anthropology and the great works. After that, she worked as a designer for a while getting her master's in social work. However, she always wanted to be a storyteller and always felt like the interactive storytelling was a really unique way to reach people. During her last year of social work, she asked, am I really going to live my whole life for other people? And the answer was no. She won and continued her education courses in narrative design and applied to so many jobs over the next 2 years before getting one interview. That interview led her to the job that she has today, and she rose to the ranks from designer to narrative and user experience lead to basically the director at this point. Another question I asked was more focused on the game, so if she had a favorite part of her game or something that she was most excited for. Beeb said, on this game, I was responsible for the user experience as well as the game and level design of the missions in the narrative and the narrative progression. That is a very, very unique combo, and it's exciting to have been able to work on the campaign gameplay and the narrative at the same time because I could truly understand how the narrative should be triggered and when and what purpose it was serving the gameplay. We talk about this thing called ludonarrative harmony in video games, which is the idea that the gameplay and the narrative feel harmonious with each other as opposed to at odds. Because I was doing both, I was able to make sure that this would happen. Additionally, she also said, what I'm most excited for is how people receive the narrative. Real-time strategy games used to be really narrative-based as a genre. People talk about Karagon a lot in the classic RTS games that had fun narrative and super meaningful ones. But that hasn't been the case in a long time. I'm excited about the perspective that the narrative of this game was given so much love and attention. I can't wait to hear what people think about the story. And lastly, I just asked if she had anything else that she would like to add about her gaming studio or her personal journey. And she said, overall, what I would say is that being a game designer is a gift that many people long for, but few can achieve. So I feel very grateful in this position. I definitely want people, especially streamers, to know how important they are to the gaming industry. When we make games, we make them for the people who play them. And there is no greater honor than people coming, trying it out, and sharing the game with their friends, with their followers, and telling us what they think. Coming from a user experience and design background, I was taught the importance of feedback and community. I'm so hopeful that we can build that with this game. Me personally, I'm so excited to play the full game of Ashes of Singularity. I've had a great time playing Ashes of Singularity 2, the demo, with Beebs, and I think that I'm super excited to check out the narrative in this game and how it all unfolds. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about Beebs and her narrative, feel free to check out Ashes of Singularity 2 on Steam.
Okay, I'm joining you, Alex. I see that you are on the middle final green. What's happening there?
Region captured.
I'm trying to find where people are, and there's orange.
Yoshi, you're speaking truth in the chat. There are really good dudes out there, and there are really great people all around us who happen to be of the man persuasion. And I honestly I feel bad for people who are socialized as young boys and then people who grow up to be men. because of the way our society like tells men and boys that they're not allowed to seek comfort and care and from their like peers. And that's like really isolating and very sad, and not to like excuse their behavior because they gained that capacity as adults to become better, but it is very heartbreaking to witness. Like they're kind of set up to fail when it comes to like emotional depth and
Oh,
understanding.
absolutely.
We did it!
Yes.
Wow. I'm so proud. I've taken a few screenshots that I will share with the crew. If you're comfortable, I can put them in one of our chats.
I
And
had
all of
bubbles
us
like
did better than them. Look at us. All of our armies at the end were better than theirs.
Guys, we beat a sergeant. Like, what?
True.
Proudness. Although, like, I wouldn't have done this if it wasn't okay for my boss. So I was like, I'm gonna go play with my girly pops at 3 p.m. It's obviously very important. But I would absolutely love to play with you all again. I would love to talk to you more about the game and the campaign. And just seriously, you all have made my day. So thank you so much for being